Hey, hello and welcome, Star People. I'm Deborah Byrd, publisher at EarthSky.
And I'm Bob King, amateur astronomer in Duluth, Minnesota, and I write for Sky and Telescope magazine and the website.
Oh, and what you see here is an artist's concept based on data from the most powerful 3D mapper of the galaxy that the world has ever known. And that's the European Space Agency's Gaia Space Observatory.
And what's really cool is that it shows you the Milky Way galaxy. That's where we live. And that little white dot that you see going around the center, that represents the sun and all of the planets in the solar system that we know. It takes the sun 220 million years to make one revolution around the center of our galaxy. Compare that to how long it takes the Earth to go around the sun, just one day.
1 year.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1 year. I think my life is just too sped up. It feels like one day sometimes. Thank you, Deborah.
Yes. Okay. And the other thing to notice here is that the galaxy appears to be a little warped. And that's because Gaia found out it really is warped. And we'll be talking more about that in a bit. But first, how you can see the galaxy from the inside out. So, Bob, how long have you been looking at the night sky?
I have been looking at the night since I was 11 years old. So I guess that would be, my gosh, I hate to say it, but yes, it's over 60 years that I've had this wonderful relationship with the stars. They feed me, they inspire me, and I love being under the night sky. So yes, for a little more than 60 years.
Yes, and I've been looking at the night sky for 50 years. So together we have 112 years of
100.
combined, mostly Bob.
Well, now I feel even older. That's good, though. It's wonderful that there's so
But
much passion between us for the night sky, and also for the people who are watching who want to know more about it.
that's right. And so it's summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it's Milky Way season again.
Yes,
Right,
yes,
Bob?
yes. Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is
And
Milky Way season. Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, we're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to talk about this.
Yes, there is a wonderful event. It's been happening over the past few nights. Those two bright dots that you see there, the one on the left is the star Regulus, and right next to it, equally bright, very close, is Mars. And this was taken, I took this just a few nights ago on June 13th, and they were just amazing then. They looked like a mesmerizing pair of eyes in the sky. Tonight, they're going to be at their closest. So that would be right there. You can see Regulus in the constellation of Leo the Lion. It's the brightest star in Leo, and right above it is Mars. And what's going to be so cool, I mean, it'll just really capture your eye. You'll be like, look at those two together. And you'll see the color difference between them, from the ruddy red deserts of Mars compared to the kind of bluish white hue of Regulus. And they are incredibly close in appearance, but actual distance wise, Mars is about 14 light minutes from the Earth. So that's how long it takes light from Mars to reach our eyes. In contrast, Regulus is 79 light years in the distance. So they're at a great distance apart from each other. I often ask people, I say, when you get a conjunction, which is what this is, try to picture it in 3 dimensions, with Mars right up in your face and Regulus way back in the background.
And I loved it, Bob, when you said that they look like a double star in the night sky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is looking west. When it gets dark, look west. But if you turn around and look east,
voila, we have something kind of hazy, kind of mysterious looking, rising up in the eastern sky, but in a way even more magnificent than our conjunction. It's the Milky Way. And as soon as it gets dark out, you're going to see, from a dark sky side, you want to be away from bright city lights, you'll see this hazy band of light coming up in the eastern sky. Sometimes people say, hey, what is that? Are those clouds? Well, in a weird sense, it really is clouds, but it's clouds of stars. Stars of our Milky Way galaxy, most of which are so remote, so far away from us, that we can't see them individually. So their light blends into this haze that we call the band of the Milky Way. And you can see it right through the constellation of the Northern Cross, otherwise known as Cygnus. And it's just coming up as soon as it gets dark, but it gradually rises, kind of tips up higher and higher in the sky during the night. And we have a Milky Way season, a viewing season or window right now, because the moon is out of the sky. The season right now, when the moon is gone, lasts until June the 28th. So anytime between now and June 28th, it's dark enough to go out and see that Milky Way without any interference from the moon. Here you can see a photograph of it, and in a picture, right, Debbie, we start to see that it's actually made out of stars, right? Looks different than the naked eye view. And of course, if you bring with you a pair of binoculars when you go out to look at the Milky Way, and please do this, and you take them and you point them at that band, you are going to see an amazing texture in the band. You're going to see clumps of stars because binoculars can resolve those points of light, unlike your eye. And you'll see these bright spots along the length of the Milky Way, and then a big dark gash down the middle. Now that gash, it looks like empty space. It looks like the Milky Way splits into two, but it's actually cosmic dust. That is dust that's been given off from evolved stars, supernova explosions, that floats out into space. And over the light years, it's dense enough so that it blocks the light of stars that lie beyond it. And it creates the appearance of a gap when it's actually, when you see it, it's actually cosmic dust, the very stuff that gathers together again through gravitational attraction to form new stars. So here it is. In this image, you can see the Great Rift. The constellation of Cygnus is outlined, and their chunks have names. Now, where you see the chunks, there is less dust between you and the Milky Way stars, and so they just jump out at you. One of the brightest parts of the Milky Way is the Cygnus star cloud, which is right below the bright star Vega. And if you keep moving south or to the right along that band through the Great Rift, you're going to come across the Scutum star cloud, the small Sagittarius star cloud, and the large Sagittarius star cloud. Again, to your eye, they look like puffs. Looks like somebody, like a blue bubble there, had these little puffs. But if you take a telescope or a pair of binoculars, you will not believe how crazy thick those places are with stars and star clusters. And you can even spot some of the brighter nebulas, these stellar birthplaces, within those bright chunks. So however you take it, whether you're just visual appreciation, binoculars or telescope, there are many levels at which to appreciate this band of stars called the Milky Way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And don't forget this.
Right. Well, we got rid of the labels, Debbie. Totally. No labels. This is just like being out under the sky. And this is one of my very favorite things. And those who have been out, I mean, without an exception, I think people that have been out under a dark sky where the Milky Way really starts climbing above you late at night or later in the summer when it gets higher, you stand underneath that thing and you know it's enormous. It's an entire galaxy that's every single star in the sky belongs to the Milky Way. And all the extrasolar planets and nebulas and star clusters, it looks to your eye and in your heart as big as it truly is, and it will really dwarf you to stand underneath it. It's one of the best experiences, one of the best cosmic connection type experiences you can have, the sense of seeing the Milky Way on a dark night and feeling how tiny it makes you feel, which is wonderful. I love feeling tiny. I bet you do too.
I do. I love it.
It's just that feeling of kind of like I am part of something, a very small part, and it just instantly refreshes your perspective about your place in the universe.
It's so true. It's a true feeling of awe.
It
But you
is.
do need a dark sky, a very dark sky. And I thought we had a video to play for you showing the dark sky, but I did not manage to get it up here. So come to earthsky.org and click on Stargazing in the menu bar, and you will go to a page that'll tell you how to find a dark sky location near you.
Yes, and just for the moment right now, perhaps it's the same page, Debbie, but you can go online, just type in lightpollutionmap.com, and you'll go to this light pollution map, and the dark areas are blue and gray on the map. You'll be able to understand how the colors relate to where the lights are and where they're not. So yes, it is such a lovely view to see that Milky Way.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, here we have, when you saw the galaxy at the beginning that we put up, where you saw it rotating. Here we have two different views of our Milky Way galaxy. Again, it's about 100,000 light years across, but notice how thin it is. It's only 10,000 or so light years thick. On the left, you have what's called the face-on view of the galaxy, and you can see it's got this bright bar of stars in the middle and these coiled spiral arms. This is the view as if you could get inside of a rocket ship or a very powerful trampoline and jump straight up high above the galaxy and look down. You'd be like, whoa, look at that swirly view. It's like the swirl in your cup of coffee, but magnified millions and billions of times. And you see where the sun is there. It's about halfway, our sun, all the planets, solar system, halfway between the center and the edge of the galaxy. On the right, we have the edge-on view of the Milky Way that shows the sun's position, again, approximately halfway between center and the edge. In the summertime, we face towards the right, towards the bulge where the stars are concentrated, which is one of the reasons why the summertime Milky Way is so bright and easy to see. In the winter, when you go out in the early evening, we are facing opposite the center, towards the outer left edge, where the stars kind of peter out. And that's why the winter Milky Way looks fainter than the summer Milky Way. But I want to use this diagram to illustrate one important thing, why we see a band in the sky instead of the Milky Way looking like it's all around the sky. And the main reason for that is because it's so flat. You see that? When we look through the plane of the galaxy, we're looking through the greatest density of stars, whether that's in this direction or in this direction. As long as we look through the plane, those stars stack up across tens of thousands of light years, and they create this dense band of light called the Milky Way band. Now imagine you're looking above or below that plane of the galaxy. When you do that, you look above or below the band of the Milky Way, and the stars kind of dribble out. You just see a few stars here and there, just the normal sky. So that band is a perspective effect of looking through the galaxy, which is very thin, but that's where most of the stars are.
And how about this, Bob? What have we got here?
Well, we've just got this beautiful model of the Milky Way, which is based upon decades of research. And you can see once again that dense region of stars in the center. It's shaped like a bar, so that's why the Milky Way is formally known as a barred spiral galaxy. Each one of the major arms of our galaxy has a name. You've got the Scutum Centaurus arm, Sagittarius arm, and there's the sun. All right, so when we look in towards the center, we're looking through the Scutum Centaurus arm, the Norma arm, towards the center of the Milky Way galaxy. When we look outward towards the, I should say through the disk, but down and out of the galaxy, we're looking through the Perseus arm, the outer arm, and then it's intergalactic space. All right, and there's very few stars there. So the sun itself is located in a little, you can see it outlined there. It's called the Orion Spur. That's our kind of suburban neighborhood, I guess you would call it, a description of where we live within the galaxy, the Orion Spur.
That is so great, Bob.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's so cool. So let's just for a second go back to something that we can't see with our eyes, but that's super important to think about here in the year 2025 when we look at the Milky Way galaxy. And that is what we mentioned at first, the Gaia spacecraft. So I've got a clip to play you from the European Space Agency about Gaia.
This is our galaxy, as seen by our Gaia Space Telescope. But what does the Milky Way look like from the outside? No spacecraft can travel beyond our galaxy, so we can't take a selfie. But during its lifetime, Gaia made 3 trillion observations of 2 billion stars and other objects, giving us the best insight yet of what our home galaxy looks like. In this new animation based on Gaia data, we can identify the Milky Way's central bar and its spiral arms. We now see the galaxy edge on, and can identify its bulge and disk. Gaia showed that our galaxy's disk is warped and wobbles, possibly caused by a collision with another smaller galaxy.
I just love the way we use technology to look at something more closely, and we find these things that we did not expect to find at all. Like, who knew that the Milky Way was warped and wobbles?
It just sounds so, it's such a relatable human concept because
Oh, yeah.
most of our lives are a little warped, or we're going through the world slightly wobbled. So
Yeah, well,
it's even
we're
more
part of
relatable.
we're part of nature too. So there
Yeah,
you go.
exactly. Yeah, and the other thing about continuing science is that it doesn't matter how deep you go. There's always yet another level beneath that level of
Amazing.
discovery that awaits, because nature's just been around for so long that the connections are just infinite between the parts and pieces, and they are there for us to learn and discover. One thing I
That's
wanted to
right.
mention, uh, Debbie, before we go to our next slide, is the size of the Milky Way. You and I were talking about, how do we make this relatable? We say something is 105, 100,000. What does that mean, really? And there is a useful analogy for that. And here you go. Gets our head straight here. If you take the sun and you turn it into a speck of dust, at this scale, the whole solar system, the planets, would be the size of a quarter. Compared to that, the Milky Way at that scale would be the size of the United States. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of, wow, we are really talking about something enormous here. And I'm proud to live here. I always tell that people, what's your address? I give them the full address, Earth, Sun, solar system, center, Milky Way.
Awesome. What about universe?
Yes, that'll be the end. That's the end point.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we just have one more thing to talk about, and that is this cool thing.
If you like donuts, you definitely are going to like black holes. This is really an image that took years to really gather. This is a photograph of the Milky Way's supermassive black hole. And this black hole in our galaxy is located in the core, the center of the Milky Way. And the center of our galaxy has a name. This little spot, this black hole, is called Sagittarius A star. That's its full name, and it's located in the constellation of Sagittarius. So when you look right down the Milky Way in the summertime at its widest part, kind of in the southern sky, you are facing towards the constellation of the Archer, often called the teapot, actually, because it's shaped like a little teapot. And when you look that way, even though you cannot see this object, because it's hidden behind all that cosmic dust we talked about, the Great Rift and such, it is back there. And this enormous black hole, the ring that you see, is caused by material that is cycling down the black hole. And as it does, it radiates tremendous amounts of energy and light. And so we see that as the ring. And then in the center, in the dark area there, that's where the event horizon is. That's where the black hole begins. And that's that point of no return. Once you cross it, there's no getting back out.
You're right. And so we cannot see this with our eyes, but we can look in the direction toward it. And Bob, I'd love it if you would come back again, and you and I can talk about looking toward the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit more about the anatomy of this and how they got this photo, and because it really is a remarkable image that took a lot of telescopes and a lot of time. And I'd love to come back to talk about this wonderfully amazing black hole in our galaxy.
Yay! We'd love to have you back.
Thanks. Great.
Okay. So for today, that is our show. Bob, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Deborah.
Yeah, it's really awesome. So the June solstice is coming up, and we're going to be hosting a solstice party live on June the 20th. And we want to know, what is your personal solstice? So what is it that you do on the solstice that's special? You can submit photos to us right here. There you go. ECP stands for EarthSky Community Photos. ecp.earthsky.org, submit a photo. So show us your special place or tradition, or you can submit your story at the contact button at earthsky.org. And we'll be back with another fantastic guest, the bad astronomer himself, Phil Plait, tomorrow. And we hope you'll join us then. One Earth, one sky, EarthSky.